Welcome to day 602 of our Web3 journey. I'm Ed Krasenstein here with my twin brother, Brian. And remember, these videos are sponsored by NFT Tech. They're an investor in DeSoFi, but we also have a very special guest with us. How could I forget? WhaleShark ETH. How's it going, WhaleShark?
It's going great. Ed, Brian, huge fan of what you guys do here. Thank you so much for having me on. And again, very much appreciate the opportunity to be given the mic and to talk to the community here at Deso.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We appreciate you joining us. I know it's kind of short notice and you're on the other side of the world, so it's late over there. And I must say, I love the avatar. The avatar is awesome. For those of you who that's not really you.
I
He
will
is
tell you guys this, when we do meet each other in person, uh, this could be nothing further from the truth.
this is
But that's
you
one of the beauties of Web3.
in the metaverse world, I guess, right? The other universe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So for those who don't know, WhaleShark is one of the largest NFT collectors in the world. I think you have over 490,000 NFTs. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, I've been collecting NFTs since 2019. It's been a real passion for me. I was there before the huge hype in 2020, 2021. And it's just been wonderful to see the entire space grow and how NFTs really have empowered the creatives as well as the collectors of the world.
Now, do you own PFP NFTs, or are they mostly like one of one art pieces?
So I'm known for many things. I am, however, the majority of my collection actually sways towards digital assets such as gaming, digital real estate. I'm the largest holder of digital real estate for some of the largest metaverse platforms in the world, and as you noted out, for digital art. PFPs, again, I understand why they exist. I understand the attractiveness of it. But something that I've always been calling out since the start of the NFT boom is that PFPs, rather than digital collectibles, had been treated as financial vehicles for a lot of the money that had entered in via the crypto market. And it's pretty sad to see the state in which the PFP market is going towards at this point in time. But again, it doesn't mean that it encompasses, I guess, the destruction of the entire NFT space as we're seeing other areas continue to bloom.
So no crypto punks or bored apes?
Unfortunately not. I mean, I would probably definitely purchase a CryptoPunk at some point in time simply because of the legacy of that project.
Yeah.
But I do tend to shy away from NFTs that act more as a financial vehicle. And as we see now, actually, Bored Ape did have a lot of institutional money, right behind it to push some of those values. I tend to stay away, I guess, from assets that are being artificially pushed up in value.
Good to know. Good to hear your opinion on things because you have been in this space for so long. You are launching your first NFT series, and that's going to be on the Deso blockchain, and you're actually using NFTZ, which is amazing. We're going to get to more of what you're doing and why you came back to Deso in just a few minutes, but let's touch on some of the news first, and you can chime in as we go along. So M. Van Halen, he's our partner in NFTZ, actually. He pointed out yesterday that it appears that Deso's core teams gearing up to release associations, and associations is something that we've talked a lot about on the show. It's something I know Brian and I are super excited about seeing. Matt Foley, who is part of the core team building this product out, has been building it and has added code to GitHub. And just yesterday, about 21 hours or so ago, he requested a review from Lazy Nina. It appears as though both post associations and user associations are going to be coming. We don't know how soon, but it appears it's getting sooner. If I guess that's not really a word, sooner, but it's coming sooner. So it's obvious what user associations are going to be. That's going to be where any user is probably going to be able to verify the identity, verify the OG-ness of another user. That's how you could give a blue check, but I guess in this case, it wouldn't be a blue check. It would be something more along the lines of a personalized badge from that user. Now, when it comes to post associations, I'm not sure exactly how those would be used. We talked a lot about, college admissions. Colleges could say, we're going to verify that this person attended our university. And I would think that would be more of a user association, but I guess it could be applied to post associations in some way. I don't know what post associations will be used for, but it's definitely interesting to think about.
But yeah, regardless, this is great because of what's happening on Twitter. Twitter's trying to verify everybody, but when they say verify, they mean just give us your credit card. And obviously, yesterday there's this huge blowback from employees at Twitter. Many of them are resigning. There's all kinds of problems. So this is the perfect timing, I think, for associations. And I think it opens the door to a lot of things. Like with NFTZ, if we're able to integrate this into our platform, we're going to be the only NFT marketplace that would have decentralized verification. And that's big in the NFT space because you want to know that the person you're dealing with is actually the person you're dealing with. And the artist that's posting this art is actually the person they say they are.
Yeah,
I,
WhaleShark, I know you had some long threads on Twitter yesterday about basically Twitter in general and why decentralized social is so attractive to you. What's your thoughts on verifications by associations?
I think it's a fantastic idea. And I would believe that, when I first came into the blockchain space, one of the most exciting things that I was very excited about was really the concept of a decentralized process to the verification of identity and credentials, right? So, when we were looking at at the space as a whole, the ability to say, this is WhaleShark, he attended, let's say, the University of Pennsylvania, he worked in a certain company, or he's been a part of these certain projects. The ability to do that and get verified by people by association, while at the same time being able to control the amount of detail of that association that goes out. I think it's a fantastic and amazing progress for decentralized social media. Right now, I mean, when you looked at the debacle that was the Twitter Blue subscription, essentially that was a very centralized model, even prior to the Twitter Blue subscription, right? Prior to the Twitter Blue subscription, it was really a very terrible model for verification. I can tell you guys, I applied over 20 times for the verified check on Twitter, provided all of the information that they needed. And even though I'm behind this avatar, for those of you who never got the check, don't worry, WhaleShark never got the check either. And then after that, all of a sudden, the verification that they have is you pay for your verification, right? And there's no authenticity behind paying money to get a check, right? So I think this development in the Deso space is fantastic. I think it will unleash, not even talking about user verification, association, but talking about post association. One of the biggest things in NFTs right now is proof of attendance protocols, right? Understanding, if someone has been at a certain event, or, Ed and Brian, just now when you brought up, if you had attended at a university, and being able to provide, verification and certification that something like that happened, I think it can be a fantastic development within the space.
So do you think the post associations would be more for like attending events? Is that how? Because I'm trying to differentiate what the difference between user and post associations will be.
I'm going to have to dig a little bit more into the material that was posted. But again, whether that's the user association, whether that's with the post association, just the ability, I guess, to be able to provide certification that someone had been somewhere or had been in attendance in somewhere, I think is a major development in the space. But I am going to have to, you guys have piqued my interest. I am going to have to dig deep down into that material after this conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, me too. It's exciting. It's going to be exciting to see what comes of this and how other people from outside of DeSo might react, because I think it is kind of revolutionary. Uh, but moving on, Illuminati, of course, on the DeSo blockchain, he was speaking in a Twitter Spaces last night, and the room title was "Goodbye Twitter." A lot of people were just pissed off at Twitter, I guess. And he spoke about DeSo, and he put a link at the very top of the Twitter Space, which was a tweet about Diamond App. And we spoke to Chris, who is Illuminati, this morning, and he said that there were about 500 people in that Twitter space at the time when he did all that. So that's great. I'm sure he turned some people onto DeSo. But I think reaching out to Twitter on Twitter Spaces and talking about DeSo, not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, and maybe none of these people signed up, maybe one signed up, maybe two signed up, who knows? But I think it's these contact points where they hear about DSO and then they hear about it again later, and then they hear about it again later, and then finally it piques their interest enough that they actually check it out. I think that's good for the ecosystem, and it helps it evolve and it helps it build out. But
I actually
moving
took a
on,
look at that screenshot. I saw Bobby Ong on there as well from CoinGecko, so it must have been a major space. But again, you saw one of Nader's posts earlier this week. He believes that the success of Deso, the success of Diamond, is very reliant on letting people know that this really is a revenue generating opportunity. And I couldn't agree further. So many of my friends have come on since then.
Yeah,
yeah,
you had a Twitter space yesterday and you were talking about DSO. I was in there and there were well over 100 people in there I saw. So I think all these touch points are just bringing attention to DSO. And if you hear about it enough, you're going to eventually join, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So Natter yesterday put up a bounty, or not yesterday, 6 days ago, he put up a bounty for posts and replies on the Deso blockchain. So if you go to Twitter, you can go to somebody's profile, you can see their tweets, and you can also see their replies to other tweets. And I think this is really useful because you want to be able to see, okay, what's this person talking about other than just the top level posts that they're making. So Natter put out this bounty. And Randir pointed out this morning that Don Hardman, formerly of what was the node that he created, Brian? Overcloud.
Overcloud.
So he actually implemented the requirements and said that it should work. He put it all on GitHub and said that if he is the winner chosen for the bounty, he will improve upon the solution. The community is asking why it hasn't yet been merged, implemented, or reviewed yet. Hardman also put up a demo on his website, replies.donhardman.com, :4200 if you want to check it out. It would be nice to see this merged. I don't know if Natter's just super busy or Ty's super busy, Ty Fisher, but it seems like it's there and it seems like it can be implemented. And I know much of the community is super excited about getting this on chain.
Yeah, and I want to thank Goldberry for bringing this to my attention this morning, and Randir, of course. But moving on, Jake Udell. Jake Udell is back. He's one of the OGs from the very start. He came back yesterday after seeing some tweets by WhaleShark ETH, and he made a plethora of posts. He asked the community several questions about how someone could make a living on Deso. He also talked a lot about why he believes BitClout may have failed. I don't know if BitClout failed. I guess as a node, maybe you could say that the creator coin saga of the early days. I think that you might look at that and say it's a failure. But Deso overall, definitely not a failure.
Yeah, it's great to have Jake back. He was one of the OGs. He was, really helped get things started in the beginning, and then he left and kind of went on and did his own thing. But it's good to have him back. Hopefully he sticks around. And Desocial World, we talk a lot about them. They seem to be having a very successful post to earn DAO raise on DAO. They're trying to raise $11,000. We talked to Ado on Monday on our show, and we talked a little bit about it yesterday. So far, they've raised 20% of what they're trying to raise in the first 30 hours. Some of the top people who have aped into the coin include Who Am I, which presumably is Natter. Also Diamond VC, Darian Parrish, 0xRE3, and Hake NFT creation. So thanks to those people for helping support Desocial World. What they're trying to do with the Post to Earn app is allow any node, any app to integrate with Post to Earn, where they can allow users to come onto their node, make posts, and the people who get the most engagement by posting on their node get rewarded. So it's kind of like a real good tool to help apps and new apps and old apps bring more people onto their app. And it's great that Desocial World is doing this because all these other apps are kind of like their competitors.
Yeah, and I want to quickly get to those people that won the Post to Earn this week before we get to WhaleShark ETH and what he has to say. You're looking forward to that. Stargazer won $10, followed by Clout Women Unite at $9. Ackhill 369 at $8, Post to Earn DAO at $7, Vampire Campfire $6, Fika Pix $5, Randir $4, and Hake NFT creation is $3. Great job, Desocial World. Really increasing engagement, I think, on Deso in general. So WhaleShark, it's great to have you here. I think we have a lot to talk about. Of course, you were one of the OGs on Deso from the very start. And then after a while, you kind of vanished from the platform for quite a while, maybe a year or so. And now you're back. So tell us why you left and why you're back.
Absolutely. And guys, I mean, this is again such a big honor to be on your daily show. It's probably one of the things that I look most forward to every single night on my side of the world. Always love your complete recap and just my hat off, my top hat off to both of you because I
It's still
remember that you
on.
guys were absolute
Your
OGs.
hat's still on. You didn't take it off.
And I wish that I could raise my hands to take my hat off as well. But maybe we'll get there. Maybe we will get there in about 2 years. But again, I remember when you guys were there as well, and again, very psyched as you brought up just now to see Jake back on the platform as well. I think he brings up some very good points from a devil's advocate point of view. But again, I don't think BitClout failed at all. I think BitClout showed probably one of the reasons why I left, right, for a tiny bit. BitClout showed that again there was a significant amount of innovation that could take place on a social media platform, which involved the ability for a creator or a content creator to be able to earn a decent living. So from a BitClout perspective, I remember, I mean, when they first launched Diamonds and everything, it was extremely exciting. But however, I did eventually leave due to the large amount of financial hijinks that were being played with the creator coins that me personally, I'm here for the tech. I'm here for the tech. I mean, I can earn a lot of money doing a lot of other stuff, whether that's venture capital, whether that's investing in real estate, whether that's, again, building other businesses in other industries. So being in BitClout, being in decentralized social has always been about my curiosity in terms of what should social media really look like. Now, given that, eventually after a while, the money that could be extracted from BitClout, I believe, was extracted to its totality. A lot of the players that were earlier on the platform eventually moved on to Twitter, where they, and God bless them, where they eventually managed to run into other successes, right? But that really left a platform where you had a lot of nascent opportunities to revolutionize the world of social media. When I saw the writing on the wall regarding Twitter, probably about 2 weeks ago, that's really when I came back on and thought, this really could be something, particularly because the community has kind of leaned out into this core segment, which are really focused on the growth, really focused on the revolution, and really focused on disrupting what social media means to the entire world today. So that's the reason why I left, and that's the reason why I'm back.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I think that's a really good point because you have these people that did stay, and that is like just such a really tightly knit group. And I think when you have that, you have a lot of really good ideas that can come from it. A lot of people feel like they trust each other. And once you have that core group, as the network expands, you have people there to help the new people along, and that you can trust those people. So I like that idea behind it as well.
I fully agree, and I mean, you got both of you, Ed and Brian, providing the news, providing the rundown on the community. Right now, I think again the platform is small enough for you guys to be able to touch on every single major topic running to the platform. And honestly, the only reason why I was able to onboard myself onto Diamond App, onto DeSoFi, and onto Pearl as quickly as I did was simply because I was able to watch your videos every single night and really get an understanding of what was going on. At the same time, however, I'll point out two things. There were some amazing projects back in the BitClout days, right? I think you guys remember some of them as well. SubClout was one of my favorites, right? The newsletter application.
Yeah.
And, but, while those projects have moved into hibernation, I think the main reason why they failed was because there was not enough traction on content generation in Big Cloud and now decentralized social. But at the same time, what spawned out of this are some amazing innovations that really run under the wire with mainstream. I mean, the very fact that you're building NFTZ with all your partners, I very much enjoyed, minting, buying, collecting, creating on the platform itself as well. So, while there are projects I believe that have gone into hibernation that are from the Big Cloud days, I do believe that the meaningful ones will eventually come back. But at the same time, there are so many of you who had been building the space while everybody left. And what you guys built was absolutely phenomenal, which is why I'm going to take my steampunk glasses and my hat and put it behind all of you.
Well, like you bring up a good point. Like there's so many projects that have come and gone. And if you go back to watch our videos, probably even from like a couple months ago, so much of what we covered is now irrelevant today. Like so many apps that we talked about, so many individuals on the platform who had been making news are no longer with us. But then there's so many things that have developed and you could kind of follow along and watch them being developed on the platform. So it's fun to follow. And I think that's why we continue to make these videos, because it's fun just keeping up with it. And it kind of forces us to stay on top of things. But speaking of NFTs, you are actually minting your first ever NFT series, and you're doing so on the Deso blockchain.
I am. I'm very excited to do so. Again, as I mentioned earlier on, and I even posted about it. I never do anything for the money, right? I think that's the worst thing to make the worst mistakes. From my standpoint, it's really about being inspired, right? And coming back onto Deso, or again, coming back to Deso. Sorry, I'm not going to call it Big Cloud anymore, but coming back onto Deso. It really inspired me, just looking at this community of builders and disruptors who really wanted to shake up the status quo for the better, right? When I see an environment and when I see a community like that, as a social entrepreneur, I cannot help but jump in the fray and try to put all my chips behind all of you guys as well. So one of the reasons why I've been posting so much is, number one, to generate a lot of content within Deso. I know that we had a don't talk about Deso day yesterday, but I still couldn't help myself, right? Because the most interesting thing about Deso is Deso. But anyway, just posting a lot and only going on Twitter to post about Deso. I think if you guys look at my Twitter feed, it's mainly telling people, look, you gotta own your own content. You have to be able to get adequately compensated for your content. And really, it's never a choice between the clout and the money, right? I mean, a lot of influencers, when they work on Web2 platforms, you choose to be famous, but you share the revenues with the platform. Why is it someone gets to take, why can't I have my cake and eat it? It doesn't make any sense, right? So yeah, that's why I'm back in doing this. In terms of my NFT project, again, I wanted it to be meaningful. All of you here at Deso really inspired me to say, hey, I really want to create something, right? Even though the market is in the doldrums. So, what I decided to do here is really create my first series of, and I don't want to even to call it art, because, calling myself an artist is really an insult to the real creators within the space. But, creating this art inspired program really is my narrative on a couple of things that I see within the space. So the entire series is called Not a PFP, 10 Generative Portraits of the World's Largest NFT Collector, right? So it's a narrative on several things. It's a narrative on, number one, not a PFP. As you guys asked me early on, I never jumped into the PFP craze, right? I don't have a punk. I don't have a monkey. I don't have an alligator, a frog, or anything out there, right? Any of the animals out there. Because simply I was a little bit perturbed in terms of understanding, what were the financial hijinks and what does the financial manipulation look behind a lot of these 10K generated projects. So that's why it's called Not a PFP. To add on to that, why am I doing 10 instead of 10K? Hey, I'm working with AI, right? I can give you 20K if you want. Again, it's a narrative on the fact that you can have a ton of 10K projects out there, but the world's largest NFT collector is only going to give you 10, right? So that's why I'm only creating 10. I'm only creating one of ones. And at the same time, I'm even starting at less than all of the auctions less than a cent, right? These are all, and again, as a lot of artists don't like to explain the meaning behind their art, I'll explain a tiny bit, and as I move forward, I probably won't explain anything at all. But I can tell you that this entire project encompasses my thoughts and my critiques around the NFT world as a whole.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and I think that if you fast forward like 5, 6 years into the future, I think that NFTs aren't going to be about PFP art. I think it's going to be more about utility, whether it's gaming utility or utility where you're showing off that you were at some event and you use that to enter an event. I think it's going to be more about utility. There's going to be so much supply entering the market every day. There's all these 10,000 NFT collections coming in every single day, and there's not going to be enough demand. And if there's no utility behind those other than just being a JPEG, I don't think there's going to be enough value. Sure, there's going to be some series. There's obviously the crypto punks, maybe the apes. Some of these bigger series will have fame behind them and they will have value. But I think overall, looking forward, it's going to be about utility. Do you agree with that?
I fully agree with you. I think so. I think I was sitting on a panel with ArtNet, right? Sorry, Art Review, which is the largest art magazine based out of London yesterday. And I think, I've been trying to correct this misnomer of saying everything that are digital assets and are NFTs, you should call them NFTs, and NFTs are an industry as a whole. Now, when you talk about NFTs, it's great that you called the platform that you guys are building NFTZ, because again, it's a selling platform of digital assets. But when we look at NFTs as an asset class, it doesn't make any sense. The reason why, and let me explain to you why, because NFT technology is a technology, right? It's not an asset class. Art is an asset class. Photography is an asset class. Real estate is an asset class. Collectibles, right, where PFPs belong, is an asset class. When we look at the rise of NFT platforms and the rise of NFT influencers, I think it's a insult, I guess, to each individual industry to assume that a single NFT influencer has knowledge about the arts, about photography, about music, about digital real estate, about the metaverse, about collectibles. It's just, I count myself as a pretty educated person. And, I don't even think I have that breadth or depth of knowledge to be able to call myself an NFT expert. I love digital art. I love, real estate because I do it in the real world. And that's really where my expertise ends, right? So, again, I think the industry is bound for a shakeup. You already see people looking for their own tribes. And you also see a lot of people, when they talk about NFTs now, it not necessarily refers to a punk or a JPEG of a monkey.
That's a really good point. Those within the NFT space know that NFTs are just the token behind the artwork or token behind the whatever the NFT is, whatever the understanding of an NFT from outsider's point of views is. But a lot of people who just, hear about NFTs, on the news or wherever, they just think it's, that digital artwork, and they're wrong, but so many people do believe that. And I think that's a good point. You talk about influencers within NFT space. You can't really be an influencer within the NFT space. You can be an influencer within the digital art space, the photography space, whatever else these NFTs are being tied to, but you can't really be an influencer within the NFT space.
I would actually say that influencers within the NFT space are more financial influencers than NFT influencers, because again, it's a technology. And if you really ask these influencers, how does tokenization really work? What are the different standards? What is on the cusp of tokenization and what could happen? I doubt that they'd be able to answer 5 to 10% of the depth of knowledge that's required to understand this technology. To Brian's point, though, utility is a thing, right? When I look at all of the PFP-like projects in the space, so I don't buy PFP projects, but I do buy avatar projects. And natively avatar projects like CloneX, which has also a heavy influence from, Murakami, I'm going to purchase that, right? Because at the end of the day, I think we are moving into VR. I will need to wear a Lamborghini and I will need to enter into this VR metaverse, right? And CloneX is a native project that does that. Now, that's utility. And, I can tell you that the offers and bids on my CloneXs literally fill 2 pages of my emails every single day,
Wow.
right? So it hasn't lost its shine. Now, given that, how about all these other PFP projects that say they're going to eventually become avatars? For me, that's really like you guys are based out of the States, right? That's really like, your local Chinese restaurant that's also going to give you sushi and also going to give you, Korean kimchi stew, right? Can you do that? Can a Chinese restaurant also do great sushi and also do a great kimchi jjigae? I don't think so, right? But again, these are all just perceptions and observations that I have, and they may not be necessarily correct. They're just based on my previous experience as an investor in multiple other spaces.
Yeah,
That's a great knowledge you have. Thanks for, I feel like you are you are an NFT influencer, as close to an NFT influencer as someone can get. I feel like you are that person. Uh, so thanks for that knowledge that you have to provide us with. Um, One thing, well, so your NFT project, you're going to launch that on November 30th with the first in the series. You want to tell us about how that's going to go?
Sure, absolutely. So, I keep revealing minor details about my stuff on Deso for better or for worse, right? I think everyone knows I'm an NFT collector. Then after that, they found out, hey, he's also the founder of Whale, which is still the largest social token, individual social token on the Ethereum network. Then today, people found out simply because I do like to share. He's also the founder of Elite, which is a metaverse fashion brand that again, sponsors two of the largest professional esports blockchain teams in the space. And now, basically, this project is, again, letting people understand that I've had roughly about 5 years of experience in building an AI company and selling an AI company, right? Which is why I'm actually, doing all of this art in conjunction with an AI. Now, it's partly because I am able to lean on my previous expertise of working with machine learning models and being able to tweak and being able to work across different models and be able to, truly leverage AI to its top potential in terms of what I'm looking for. It also leverages my skill set as a curator, right? Because, as the largest collector of NFT art, I think, again, a skill set in terms of looking at something and understanding what is aesthetically pleasing to me, right? And what is not is also a skill set that I've been able to bring up. Now, the last point I would say in terms of this entire project, in terms of how I'm doing it, it's also an experiment for me because beyond blockchain, beyond all of the things that are happening with SBF and FTX and Twitter and Deso and everything like that. One of the other technological revolutions that is happening is AI generated art, right? I've always been a huge fan of generative art. Now with AI generative art, you're not actually manipulating the code per se directly, right? Is it still considered art, right? So from a philosophical perspective, I wanted to create AI generative art to really understand, how difficult and how labor intensive is it as a human being to interact with the AI algorithm to create something? And am I really an artist after I've completed, right? So I think it's just an interesting philosophical question for me that I wanted to answer through getting that experience. I can tell everyone right now that it is a lot harder than I thought it would be, right? I thought I would just, again, play around with a few models, provide some inputs, and bam, all of a sudden, within a couple of hours, I'd have, at least one piece. I can honestly tell everybody I've been working on this for the last 3 days. I still do not have a single piece that I'm satisfied with. So it is not as easy as everyone thinks.
Well, you have 12 more days, so get to work.
You guys know what I'm doing right after this interview.
So one final question before we let you go. If you're in Natter's seat, and I guess I could say Salil Shah's seat, the new COO of Deso, what would be your main way to bring people onto Deso? Like, if you were in charge of marketing, how would you market Deso?
Ed, that's amazing because that was actually the question that I was thinking about earlier today after my dinner. I was thinking about, hey, what are the ways to market Deso? How come Deso doesn't have, strong enough marketing efforts, into the mass market, given that there are so many opportunities to hijack social media at this point in time? I think I would do several things. I think at the end of the day, the first thing is that we do need to make sure that the infrastructure of products or the suite of products provide a very unique and a very good user experience, right? When I look at Diamond and when I look at DeSoFi versus what was previously BitClout, it's leaps and beyonds, the user experience that I had 1 year ago. But to your point, when you guys brought up the fact that you can't see previous tweet replies, there's still a very far way for Diamond to grow, right? I mean, over here in Asia, right? Before you become the god of Tai Chi, you have to know how to do Tai Chi, right? When we talk about a text-based platform, what are the things that Diamond is missing right now? They're missing the ability to look at previous post replies. You're looking at the inability to be able to directly post emojis, right? I cannot tell you how many times I have to type into another browser window, laughing emoji,
Yeah.
copy paste, right? The ability, I don't even miss the GIFs that much, right? But the ability to post more than one picture, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, but the ability to post more than one picture into a single post, right? These are all fine details that, again, Twitter has been able to understand what their user base wants out of a text-based program. So I think, again, sorry, a very long-winded answer, but the first thing is that, if I was Nader, essentially you need to understand that your suite of products or the suite of products within the Deco ecosystem truly are providing people with a world-class experience, right? So I think that's the first thing that I would do. The second thing that I would do is I would say that the ecosystem is incomplete, right? So you have a Instagram-like app, you have Pearl, you have a TikTok style like app, you have a Twitter like app, we're still waiting for a YouTube like app, we're still waiting for gaming, right? I mean, where is the Zigna, where is the Rovio of Deso, right? I think that's a huge major gap that's missing that could all come in. So I know that you talked about marketing, but I'm very much into fundamentals, and I think that if I was Nader, if I was a COO, I'd be looking at my total ecosystem and saying, hey, do we have every single aspect of the mobile or of the social media experience covered? And if we don't, can we really, jumpstart this baby by injecting a large amount of funds in some very, very competent parties, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing I was just thinking about is, when you look at the ability to encourage writing on a different platform, I haven't seen, and I could have missed it because I've been gone for a while, but the ability to bring in famous authors, famous writers, people who weave their art with text, and be able to bring those people onto Deso through either a bounty or through competitions and whatnot. I think all of these different things will start to bring attention to the platform as a whole. And we don't even need to care about creator coins or diamonds. At the end of the day, if you have the content, if you have some very good creators on the platform, the laws of attrition are going to come into play and more people will come onto the Deso platform.
Yeah, and I just want to point out there is Zircles, and Diamond did add the blog, but yeah, I think there's still work to go there. There are I think that I actually totally agree. I think that Deso should be trying to bring some people on, whether they have to pay a bounty for those people to come on and post. I think that would be great. Get some big names here. Also, you mentioned a YouTube of Deso. There is actually one being worked on. Mr. Preet is working on VidDeso, VIDESO. It's coming out. It's part of the hackathon that Conshi's hosting. So things are expanding. Things are picking up. Developers are coming on. It's slow, but it's happening.
That's an awesome name, by the way, Vin Diesel. Absolutely love it. But anyway, yeah, I think as a platform that exists today, again, when you look at the ratio of my posts from Twitter to Deso, it's like 1 to 20, right? So I think what you have today with Diamond, DesoFi, and I'm about to go to Indonesia later next week to display over $100 million worth of X copy, and I'll be actually capturing that on Pearl. I think the space has come a long way. I don't have complaints. I mean, I don't have complaints on Deso, Diamond, DesoFi, or Pearl as projects that I'm able to share content with. It can only be better, right? So I absolutely love what everyone has built, and it really is a place that I can stay now because you guys have all of the basic tools. The community is rabidly positive, and I just want to stand behind you guys and put as much weight as I can behind the projects as I can.
Have you tried out Story yet?
I have not. That was actually right next on my list. That was actually right next on my list. I have never even tried TikTok before, right? So I do believe that next after Pearl, I'll definitely delve into Story, and because I want to try everything. Again, extremely curious. I'm here out of the curiosity, and I'm staying for the inevitability that decentralized social media will be a thing, and I'm putting my chips behind Deso versus any other protocol.
All right. Well, thanks so much, WhaleShark. Thanks for your time. I'm just going to close off the show by going over some of the NFT auctions that are ending in the next 24 hours. HR VAT is auctioning off a rare Squirrel Clout Punk NFT that ends at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time. There's a Natterheads number 53 that's being auctioned off by Dennis Carsey, ending at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Chermislav Digdong's auctioning off Sumar's Pussycat, which ends at 5:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can check out all the auctions ending soon at nftz.me/auctions. And Brian, do you want to touch on the 10 people with the most NFT bids in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, sure. Andreas SPZ, Shadow Crypto, Dead Metal, Solate, Agsa, Aya, Eat Green Apples, Crypto Junkie, Studio Richards, and Dr. Rob. And finally, I get to the top Diamond Day creators over the last 24 hours, thanks to Altumbase. They were Elgin, The Sarcasm, Lil Lover, Elric Ericos, Randir, WhaleShark ETH, Pandaz, Striga, Miami Japan, and Dead Metal.
Yeah, and as we ask WhaleShark one last question, check out these events that are taking place on the Deso blockchain today, thanks to Miss Katie Ann. WhaleShark, if you could have one person join Deso, who would it be?
Can I be a little bit cheeky about it?
Sure.
Elon Musk.
I agree. That would be a good one.
I mean, it's kind of ironic that he sits at the top of the Creator Coin charts when he's trying to run his own centralized media platform. But it would be probably the biggest irony and probably the most interesting thing to see Elon Musk go ham on Deso versus on the bird.
I think if that
amazing.
happens, we're all going to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks again, WhaleShark. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and you're welcome back anytime. And we're looking forward to your NFT project starting in 12 days from now. Hopefully you can find some models before November 30th.
Thank you so much, guys. I very much enjoyed myself. And again, thank you so much, both of you, for being such integral parts of such an integral revolution in the social media era.
Thank you. And everybody have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.